Walking inside the abandoned house was like nothing Stephanie had seen before. On the outside, it looked like any other rundown once was trap house. Inside, the walls seemed as if they were alive. They looked as if they were breathing. They felt as if they were human skin. The creaking of the floors were more like small moans. Still, she didn't want to seem scared and continued her way in. "Brock, are you sure this place is safe?" "Yeah, probably. Well, mostly, hopefully, I honestly don't know. He just said to meet him here." "Who is he, Brock? What are we doing here?" "I don't want to spoil the surprise, Steph, come on, trust me." Stephanie sighs deeply. "Okay, fine." They walked to the beginning of a dark hallway. The walls had red wallpaper with what looked like thorny vines of them, torn in spots, showing the dead wood underneath. What looked like mold was growing all around. It smelled like waterlogged wood with a slight hint of dirty pennies. "Oh my God, it reeks," Stephanie said while putting her hand over her mouth and nose. "If you ask me, God abandoned this place long ago," Brock joked. He looked at Stephanie with a loving smile and grabbed her hand. "It's only a little further, come on." He takes the first step into the hallway, the creaking of the floor louder than in the first room. With each step you could hear how damp it was. "Wow, the floor sounds like queefs." Stephanie laughs and loses her balance slightly. She puts her hand on the wall for balance. The mold felt like hair between her fingers. She lets out a small scream and jumps forward, knocking Brock down. "I'm so sorry." "It's fine, hun," Brock says as he's getting up and spits. "Whatever is on the floor does not taste good, though." He chuckles and turns to look at Stephanie. "Oh God, you're bleeding." "What? I didn't fall that hard." Brock wipes his mouth with his hand and looks, his fingers covered in dark red. "This can't be my blue." Just then the floor creaks loudly and both of them fall through it. They scream and fall hard onto the floor below. Brock lands on top of Stephanie. Stephanie opens her eyes and looks around. She sees a red sky with black clouds and blue lightning. Each strike of lightning she hears screams and not thunder. "Brock, get off me," she says in a panic. He doesn't move. "Brock, get off of me," she screams while pushing at him. "Brock, off." She finally gets out from underneath him and onto her feet. Looking around, she sees blood everywhere. "Where are we?" she asks while starting to hyperventilate. "Brock, where are we?" She kneels down beside him and notices he's not breathing. "No, Brock, Brock, wake up," she shakes him. "Brock." She screams and starts to cry. "Oh God." Brock's head turns all the way around and spouts blood like a volcano. With a gurgling laugh, he says, "I told you, God abandoned this place long ago." He smiles and then corrodes into the ground. Stephanie screams and falls on her ass. She shuffles her hands and feet around in total panic. Bones clank together as she does. She turns and scrambles to her feet as the bones beneath her shoes move around rapidly. She looks around again and sees what looks like sunlight off in the distance. She runs towards it, screaming and crying. Out of breath and energy, she starts to slow down. She doesn't want to stop, but her body needs rest a moment. She falls to her knees and closes her eyes to collect herself. She manages to calm her breathing enough that she can hear more than her own heart pounding. She hears the squeaking of a swing and grinding of gears on a merry-go-round. With her eyes still closed, she thinks to herself, "Okay, it was just a dream." Stephanie opens her eyes to see a bridge in front of her. She looks to her left and sees the playground she was hearing. "No," she says softly as she looks around more. The playground was made entirely of human remains. The swing was two spines and skin holding them together to sit on. The seesaw, going up and down by itself, was moaning. The merry-go-round was bones and stretched skin. "Where the fuck am I?" she asks herself while getting back onto her feet. She turns to go across the bridge and it starts to sprinkle. The bridge is made of human limbs that twitch and spurt blood. Below the bridge is a river of blood with skulls and bones on each side. She walks slowly across the bridge. It feels like it could collapse at any moment. She shakes, but continues forward. She gets to the other side and falls back on her hands and knees. The sprinkling turns into a hard rain, which she now notices is blood and not water. Panting loudly and not sure what else to do, Stephanie starts laughing like a maniac. She laughs so hard she wakes herself up. Stephanie awakens from the nightmare, panting and still laughing hysterically. She flails her arms and legs as she screams with laughter. She tries to get up, but is in restraints. Her laughter turns to blood-curdling screaming as she continues to convulse in an attempt to free herself. A sudden thud on the door quiets her for a moment. As she lays there in the dark, unsure where she is, she tries to catch her breath. After a couple seconds, there's another thud at the door. The thud scares her stiff, her heart pounds, and she begins to feel extremely cold. Another thud happens, and she jolts even stiffer as if being electrocuted by the sound. As the thuds become louder and faster, she clinches up even more. Stephanie gasps for air as the thuds start matching the rhythm of her pounding heart. She lets out a scream so loud that she becomes hoarse while tensing up so much the restraints break. She hurls herself off the bed and lands hard on her back. The impact on the concrete floor pushes the air out of her lungs. She bounces up in pain and slams the back of her head on the floor. The warmth of her own blood beneath her shocks air back into her lungs. The pounding on the door continues as she turns over and spits blood from her mouth. She tries to pull herself under the bed for safety while blood gurgles in her throat as she tries to breathe. Once under the bed, Stephanie vomits from pure terror of what is happening. The vomiting helps her gain her breath. Still in complete shock, she glances around the room to try and figure out where she is. The thudding continues as the door begins to buckle under the pressure of the blows. She looks up at the bottom of the bed and sees a sawed-off shotgun duct taped to it. Next to the shotgun is a note that is written in blood. All it reads is "Aim for heads." She frantically pulls down the shotgun. As she does, the door bursts open. A tall figure in a trench coat stumbles through the door. Stephanie cocks the shotgun and shoots at the figure, hitting it in the abdomen. The tall figure doesn't even flinch from the shot. Instead, it giggles like a baby and continues coming towards her. Stephanie's eyes grow wide with panic as she realizes the tall figure in the trench coat has the face of a baby. She shoots again, this time remembering what the blood-written note said. She hits the figure in the head and it explodes. The headless body falls to the floor. She starts panting once again and says in a very hoarse voice, "What the?" Before she can get the last word out, another one walks through the door. She cocks the shotgun, once again shoots. Again, the head explodes and the body falls. Before she can even take another breath, another one comes through the doorway. She does the same as the last two. 3 headless bodies in trench coats are now piled on the floor. She tries speaking again. "Jesu?" A fourth enters. She screams in terror and shoots again. She continues to scream and shoot as more flood into the room. Suddenly, Stephanie feels someone shaking her from behind and throws her elbow back. "Oh, fuck!" Stephanie wakes up out of breath and sees Brock standing and holding his face. "I think you broke my nose, honey." I'm so sorry. I just... Having a bad dream, I know. You were screaming like a madwoman. What the hell were you dreaming about? Tears start rolling down her face. "I'd rather not talk about it." She grabs Brock and holds him close. "I'm so sorry about your nose. Please just hold me for a moment." Brock wraps his arms around her and calmly says, "It's okay, my love. I'm here." She starts bawling uncontrollably and clinches him tight. God, those dreams were so awful. "Aw, babe," Brock says while stroking her hair. "I already told you God abandoned us long ago." Stephanie pushes Brock. "What the fuck did you just say?" "I said I bet they were awful." "No, you didn't. You said something about God, just like in the dreams." I never said anything." Stephanie runs to the bathroom before Brock can finish his sentence. "No," she locks the door behind her. "Say it again, say it." "I swear, babe, I have no idea what you're talking about." Stephanie turns on the sink faucet and splashes her face with water. As she looks up into the vanity, she sees Brock's reflection instead of her own. The skin falling off his face with grub worms underneath. "I said God abandoned us long ago." the reflection says with a chuckle. Feeling as if she's going to vomit, Stephanie looks down to the sink again. The sink filled with blood, maggots, and clumps of hair. The faucet flowing blood instead of water. She falls back and sits on the side of the bathtub, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath in hopes to collect herself. Behind her, the shower curtain opens and a hand touches her side. Too shocked to even scream, she slowly turns to see who or what is touching her. She sees the tub, filled with mucky water, and herself reaching out for help. She tries to breathe, but it feels as if she's intaking nothing but water herself. Grabbing the outreached arm, she pulls as hard as she can, only managing to pull all skin and muscle off the bones. All of the water splashes out of the tub, soaking her. She stands still for a couple seconds, holding a handful of meaty flesh, staring at herself in the bathtub. The bathtub doppelganger breaks the silence with loud laughter. Stephanie screams, drops the flesh, and faints. She awakens being lightly slapped on the cheek. "Steph, you okay, Steph?" Stephanie groans and tries to focus her eyes. "B. Brock, what happened?" "You fell in the shower, scared the shit out of me, took forever to break through the door, everything is soaked." "What the hell?" Brock's voice seems to split into 3 tones. "Getting closer, my dear."